Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm TK Dodo, and today I'll be starting a page from Creative Haven's Spring Scenes by Teresa Goodridge. One of the pages I picked is page number 16, because I actually number them. I picked a freebie, so everyone can color along. You can find this in the Facebook group. Normally, I tear the pages out because there's a little perforated line, but I decided to print it because I will be working with marker and pencil. For those interested, I printed it on Canson mixed media paper, the Imagine. There's no particular reason why I use this. It's just I bought it to try it, and I'm just trying to use it. I'm going to start off by naming some things that I regularly use. I'll be coloring with markers, so of course I have my swatch sheets. So I'll be using the 216 set, which is the, lighting is bad, but is the brush nib and the broad nib or chisel nib. And then also pencil, for which I also have swatch cards. These are my old swatch cards for the Carandash Pablo. And I will only try to do this correct once, the Faber-Castell Polychromos. And from now on, these will just be known as my polys. These, by the way, you can also find in the Facebook group. And of course, my highlighters, because who doesn't like highlights? My brush, which is basically just to get rid of any excess stuff without kind of pushing it into the paper. And of course, a sharpener. So I'm just going to zoom this in. We'll get started. So on this page, I'm going to just do a base layer of marker and then go over that with pencil, because I just feel like coloring and making it quick. I'm going to start with the sky, which is the pale grayish blue. Now let's just assume not everyone has Ohuhu markers. Let's just see where it is. It's right there. So it's just a light blue. Initially I wanted to go either for that or even that, but I have learned I tend to go too light, so I always pick the color I like. Well, always. This time I decided to pick a color I like and then find one that is just a little darker, which is the pale grayish blue. Now, for my pencils, I will be doing the same, so if you are coloring along with a different set, no biggie, I'll just show you on here and you can find in your set what matches or what you want. And I also mention, of course, an eraser. I use a electric eraser just because I'm lazy and I like that it gives precision, but to each their own. It doesn't hurt to have an eraser, and yeah, let's just get started, because that's what we're here for. So again, I'm just gonna start with the sky. Now, the lines are not always as clear as we would like them to be, but that seems to be a theme in many books, which is why I guess a color along is gonna help. Now, the reason I kind of went for blue is, well, there's clouds. I'm just kind of, I think it's a sunny day. It should be a sunny day. So a very bright blue sky for a very bright and sunny day. Now in the sky, I probably won't be going over that with too much pencil, because it's a lot. The reason I'm actually deciding to do markers underneath is when it's a lot quicker. And so this is a bit questionable, but I feel like this is blue. Now I will also be putting this up on the group, a picture. I mean, not as is right now, but when it's the end result after this little video. So that if you kind of missed something or couldn't quite see, you can just zoom in. You will find the link to the Facebook group in the description. And keep adding to that group, like resources and also recently made a little DIY color wheel for those of you who, I don't know. For some reason I made it and figured I'll share it. Because I was just thinking, I live in one of those towns where I don't really have craft stores here. So I have to order pretty much everything online. There are a few shops that sell a thing or two, but the quality is often questionable, or the prices are just ridiculous because they're the only ones in town selling it. And I guess I thought that was kind of the same with the color wheel. I don't know why I made it. I just did. I don't really use one. But while they are sort of cheap, even online, and of course you have shipping and whatnot, and sometimes you just need something now. Actually, I printed one. So, color wheel, just the basic colors. And then I have these thingamies with it, so that when you pick your color, two color, put it on there, just straight in the middle, so you know what's kind of complementary. I have one for split complementary, which is three colors, 4 and 4. If you really want to know about color theory, you're gonna have to look that up yourself, probably, because again, I don't really use this. But you can find that too. It's just for printing. There's a reason I did it in black and white as well, because for some reason my ink is always kind of gone. The color ink, always running out of, well, colors. I feel like there should be something blue here too. Oh, it's raining. That just makes coloring all the more fun. I don't know if the mic is picking that up, but... Now, I did do a page by Teresa Goodridge a little while ago, but that was kind of a hasty, quick thing. Of course, sort of said that I would do one better, so I hope this is it. Now, for the marker parts, I'll probably be speeding up a lot of it, because well, the sky is blue. There's not much I can say there. Now, once I get to the pencil part, that's probably gonna need a bit more. I mean, one, it's more time, and two, I don't know, I think that's more interesting to actually do in normal speed. Although I'll be speeding things up there too. Because once I color one bundle of flowers, let's say I just colored those flowers, then I'm gonna do these and these and these in kind of the same way. So this will be, unlike the previous color along I did, a lot of things I'll be speeding up, because it's just, well, repeating a process. And again, you can just check the Facebook group where I will drop like the end result of this video. Of course, the end result will end up there too. But after every video, I'll just share a picture there so you can just take a look at what I did. So yeah, I think I'm about ready to speed this up. Okay, I think I have most of it done. As you may have noticed, I missed a little something there. Now over here, I can't quite figure it out because there's that little humpy thingy, which would suggest that it's part of that. So I'm just gonna leave that. I mean, I put these to the side anyway, so if I change my mind, I can still put some blue in there. I mean, I'll probably find out that I forgot something, but I'll just go back to that. So now I'm going to go for the trees in the background. I could go straight into the pencil, but I don't know, I like to lay down a bit of a direction, which is why I start with the sky. These are just things that have a certain color. Sky is blue, grass is green. So it kind of creates a guide. Now, for the ones in the back, I decided to go for, I'm not going to try, 240, which is right over there. It's just a sweet little brown. So it's not as brown as that, because I still want to go over that with pencil. So a sweet brown. Now over here, I'm still kind of debating, because that could be a branch, and then this could be the sky, but then I think that line isn't thick enough. So I'm just gonna turn this entire thing into a branch. Could complain about line work. I probably will, but the thing is, many books just, it seems to be an issue. I just noticed where I missed a little bit of blue. See, those things will show up soon enough. And one of the reasons that I'm going to combine this with pencil is just the coloring that I did before this was, well, was a bit intense. It was all pencil, which just takes up a lot of time. It is fun, but it just really requires time. And with the summer coming up, even though it's raining right now, well, it's going to be uncomfortably warm in this room. So if I can do a quick coloring, then that is just, well, preferred for me. Because I mean, I want to be doing the color along, which means I can't really put a big fan blowing air around the room, because that would make for one noisy color and chat, which is something I do try to avoid. Although meanwhile, you can probably hear some sirens in the background, because I am just close to, well, everything with a siren. So the hospital is near, police station is near, and the fire department is near. So basically anytime they have to go anywhere, I will hear. If they use their sirens, of course. But I already know from previous recordings that that is not all too extreme. Now, again, double checking. I do forget a lot, but so that was it for the 240. I'll put that to the side as well. Yeah, I'm just gonna, I think I picked this one, the E170. Where are you? That is a rather, that is a brown, which I'm doing on purpose because I kind of like this tree to be very present, because it's so, it's not like to the front, but it is supposed to be very visible. So I'll be doing that with this. Let's just start with the branches to the side. Let's just start over here. Fiddly bits. Now I am gonna, well, color it in sections. So that means as soon as I come across a line, that's where I'll quit. I'll just stop so that I can do the tree in one go, because even though I will be going over this with pencil, I want to go over it with pencil because I want to, and not because I need to, which is why I also took a bit of time on the sky. I mean, I still will be going over that with pencil, just probably not with the intention to cover it, because that will kind of undo the whole laziness of the marker. Now, the marker does give a little bit of, let's call it oomph to your page, because you're no longer coloring on white paper, you're basically coloring on colored paper, which does make the colors more intense. And how much shadow you actually put on there with your pencil, that is entirely up to you. If you are familiar with my coloring, then you probably already know that I like to go all out for some reason. So even though right now I'm saying I'll probably not make a fuzz, I'll just make it a quick coloring. Yeah. I'm probably lying. Then again, my idea of keeping things simple might not be the same as your idea of keeping things simple, so I'll just take this part along with it. This is what I love about those brush nibs, because you can do bigger areas, but they're also great for the smaller areas, because that point is just, it's so pointy. I was at some point tempted, because I think they have this set with brush and fine nib as well. Couldn't find a set big enough though. They didn't have the right size. And I just like my markers, so I want a big set. Because, I don't know, that's just what I wanted. So I just do that tree straight away. Let's just start with this little bit. Just go up, because I might just go off screen. Yeah, we don't want that. Ooh, this thing has a little, yeah, let's just take that. I'll just color that along, I think. Yeah, this is the little tree stumpy thing for that, with a little bit over there. Now we can actually go over the lines with pencil quite a bit. That's what we learned in our previous, well, I already kind of did that before, but it sometimes it works really well. So this is again it's a learning process for me. I have not been coloring for like a decade. Actually started in 2020. So we'll just learn together. That's my theory. Yeah, I'm gonna go up. Also, I don't know if this is true, but this might actually be a very helpful tip. If it is true, anyone who knows markers better than I, do leave your thoughts in the comment section. But I feel like if you actually color away from the lines, you tend to run over them a little less. I think that's called feathering. And some call it bleeding over the lines, others call it feathering, but you know what I mean. It's the annoying part where the ink just keeps going. And I sometimes noticed that if you kind of go away from a line rather than towards it, it seems to be a little less, but I don't know, that's just something that I kind of felt was happening. I'm not sure if that's really a thing, so People with marker experience, do comment. Although on some pages it matters more than on others. And I'm not saying I'm going to make a mess out of this. I have no intention of doing that. But I will be taking this a bit more serious than the previous one that I did with marker and pencil, because that was just supposed to be a quick attachment to a gift. So it sounds a bit bad, but I didn't really care much, as long as it looked okay. And this is, I guess this time it's all about me having fun. Now I will try and not to turn the page too much, because that might be a bit confusing, or you get very dizzy. But I do prefer it sometimes. Yeah, I should not. Should try to, I'll teach myself to color in all directions. That'll be a handy trick for YouTube. Making YouTube videos. See, it hasn't been too long, but we already have so much color on the paper. Now I tend to start with everything that's fiddly, because I just like to get it out of the way. I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it's soothing. This means I probably reached the point where I'm just gonna speed this up again. Now again, you can just go to the Facebook group and pull up the picture. You will find it there, so that if you are unsure which branches I did or didn't color, you can double check. I think that's all the branches. Now, if I would have done all of this with pencil, well, I'd still be working on the sky probably over there. I'm not sure if I want to do the little leaves as well. That way we have like an entire thing, and then we can just switch to pencils rather than hopping back and forth. I'm just gonna start with the flowers, or what I think is flowers. Now I'll start with a, well, literally pink, which is RV260. Now, I'm not too sure what is flower and what isn't. I'm also going to grab a yellow. Just the Y3. Because there's just a little dot in the center. Now I can do that with a Posca. Or I could just dot this first and then put the pink in. And hope that some of this yellow remains. I do have a feeling that most of this is flowers. But that's the reason I start with the pink, because there is going to be, well, also leaves on there, clearly. It's easier to just go over this pink with the green than it is the other way around. So that's why I'm kind of starting with the pink, just to see how that turns out and where I want green. But this is a very blossomy tree, so I think it's mostly going to be pink. Well, I decided that it's going to be pink. I do feel like confused over here. That'll do. See, this is why I really don't use my color wheel. And I have one. I made it because, I don't know, I was bored or something. I just wanted to see if I can turn one of those apps for your phones into a physical DIY project, which I could. So if for some reason you want a DIY color wheel, well, you can pick that up now. Using the same paper, I use the same paper for that as I do for my coloring right now, which is rather thick paper. This has to be a flower. I feel like this is a flower. Which now also kind of reveals missing bits of what might be blue. So I feel this could be blue. I feel this could be blue. I feel this is blue. I'm feeling a lot of blue. I feel so blue. My neighbors decide to listen to music and force it upon me. Alright. Let's just hope that's not picking up too much. I'll have to get creative in editing. I don't like that. I kind of just want to present my video. I mean, I speed things up, and that's about as exciting as it's gonna get. It's just a cloud, or, well, it's no longer. It is now part of the floral arrangement in the tree. Yeah, that does make sense. Just random yellow blobs now. No, lucky for me, I can just take a break in between, which I will be doing in a little bit. Getting feeling kind of, well, peckish. It is around that time. My stomach has been summoning me. Is that a thing? My stomach is summoning food. It's ordering me around. It would be nice if it just ordered food. That way I wouldn't have to. That might actually be that I'll be adding another set of pencils to this. Because I recently ordered new ones and I think they should be arriving while I'm coloring this. And considering I decided to do this for fun, new pencils are fun. They are. And I really had no reason to buy them. Not really, if I'm going to be completely honest. For some reason, that was just one of those, I want to have them, I'm just going to buy them kind of things. I feel like that little thing could be blue too. It's like almost impossible to see, but I see it anyways. But you'll get used to that. Me complaining about things that you might not see. Which does result in pages that you can really zoom in and examine close up. so that if you can't really see what I'm doing, zoom it in. It doesn't necessarily turn into a blur, depending on how far you zoom it in, of course. But I am very nitpicky. So if you see me fiddling on an area and wonder, what is she doing? Well, that's just my nitpicky eye kind of going, there's a tiny, tiny, tiny something there. Oh, that's more like a warning, I guess. Sometimes you should just color and ignore what I'm doing, because I'm nitpicky. I mean, these yellow dots, I'll probably be doing them again with Posca, or just changing my mind and going for another color, like maybe blop in some gold. I don't know. It's just, if I now go over this, it kind of just sticks around. So no matter what I do to it, that yellow has already left its mark. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these clouds though. Clouds are not my thing. They are not my friends. They are fluffy and they look like cotton candy, but how to color them with markers. I have done one on a page that I don't think I ever uploaded, but and I just did like the edges of it. But that had a sun drawn in, and this one has no sun. So I'll figure it out. I usually do. Or when I'm done, I'll just be like, look, it's finished. That way you can't see it either. It'll just be the thing. Just hide it. Because that's why I kind of love the pages from, well, anything autumn, really. Because it's just so easy to look at the sky and be like, that has to be red or orange. Could do that in spring too, but I felt like because it's a blossoming tree, it would be better contrast to kind of go for the blue, because that brings out the pink. That makes sense. That is that color wheel thing, by the way. So I guess I do use it, just in my head. Which is not really helping. I feel like I need to add some blue there before I forget. And over here. This is so fiddly. So before I go into the pencil part, I am actually going to take a break. Before my stomach is going to break into singing or something. I'm not sure if we're actually going to get to the pencil. I said before we get to the pencil, I'm going to get some food, but I might just do that first layer of marker, and then maybe the next part will be pencil. Who knows? Still have to figure out what the best planning is. I'll probably start editing halfway through. That way I get an idea of how much time has gone in this after speeding it up. Because my timer actually says an hour. And after speeding things up, it would definitely not. But I'll look into that too. But tiny, tiny flowers. Right now it doesn't look like much. I feel like we could do better. Which is why, of course, we'll be adding pencil. But I'm way too hungry to think about that, so I'm going to take a little break and give you one of my creative transitions. And I am back, and I'm going to be doing leaves with a apparently dirty marker, which is, I guess, a tip for your markers. When you open them next to your page, not on top, because it can they can splash. I already did the editing for the little bit before this, and notice that me, well, whoever has the time, but there is time, so plus that'll make it look like we actually did something, which is what you want, sorta. Well, let me know what like it if people feel like they actually got something done. It's a bit of the tricky part of coloring. It just takes time, which we are quick to forget. So, I don't know, just don't measure your coloring by how fast it was or wasn't. Just have fun. It's not a race, is it? And for me, this is a hobby, so if I have a little time, I will color. And if I don't have time, then I won't be coloring. Luckily, there's just ways to make it a bit quicker, like markers. I mean, over here, it really is ridiculously warm right now. This room, not so much, because I make sure the sun doesn't get in the room, which is a lot of heat in here. Or what? It prevents heat in here, I should say. Is that part of the bricks one? Not anymore. It's green now. I actually put this next to like the original in the book. It does seem like this is actually a bit smaller. Don't know if it would have been different if I actually scanned it. But, you know, that's a choice. It's mostly, I also want to like get more acquainted with different types of paper. This one is, it does seem to have a bit of a tan to it. Not much. Still white? Oh, it actually says that. Natural white. But next to the paper in the book, it is a bit yellowy, but I don't care. I'm coloring it. I don't care. I don't care if you care. I don't care. I think I should do something with the bird. We need a nest, though. Because I think that bird might be smart to just do that all pencil. So we need a bird nesty kind of color. I'm going for deep cream. Because that's a light one. Very, very light. Could probably use it on the bird too, but I don't know. I'm not sure what kind of bird it is yet. It's a small bird, but that I got. Let's see, I missed a little bit of a flower here. Did I miss any more flowers? In here it's debatable. Just gonna blop in some blue. Now, I do feel like I should start with everything in the tree. There is a reason I do that for the leaves, because I'm just gonna start there and see how far we get. I have the Pine Green 267, and you're gonna have to trust me. This is the 266, the permanent green. And, well, the pine green is just a very dark green. And the permanent green, I'm just going to go ahead and call that, yeah, normal green, I guess. It's not light green, it's not dark green, it's in between green. So if you are coloring along with a different set, you now kind of know what you're looking for. Definitely going to sharpen it because those are tiny areas. Now, as you might be able to see, I use different sharpeners for both because this one won't fit into most sharpeners anymore. So I just use a very basic one for that because that'll still fit. And for this one, I like it when it's like a bit shorter. Feels like I can put more pressure on it. Also note that if your point does break, well, then there's less point to be broken. Of course, I have all kinds of crap on my nail. Oh well. So I'm just gonna add the little green, like, well, close to the bottom of the leaf, the bigger part. Just fan out into light. It's just normally, if you don't have that little green layer underneath, and you really want to get rid of all that white of the paper, it just takes a lot more work. And we're not here for that. Not this time. Kind of fanning in because we do want to sort of blend. But I guess if you want to be extra lazy, you could just leave it like that. But I'm going to get extra here because that's just what I do. Oh God, I'm just going to move my light a bit. My big head's creating shadow. My claws are getting in the way as well. Might just be that one of those days I'll just come back and they'll just be gone. Because gardening or something happened. It is that time. I do feel like I might want to go even lighter. Because this does seem to turn out a bit dark, so I'm going to go for one of these three, I think. So I'm just going to try the next one with the grass green. See how that turns out. Because I feel like the high and low lights aren't exactly showing up because the other two colors are just too close to each other. So let's just see what this does. I feel like that might be better. Ooh, yes. I could just top it off as well. So now my question is, do I like this one better or that? I feel like I do need this. It's my rule of three, which, if you've been here before, you know that that means that I generally, for objects, whatever it is, I tend to pick three colors. I find that easiest to blend. I can actually blend this into that lighter green. Then I really have to be going into layering. And again, we were going to do this the lazy way. So we're going to use this to overlap. Which is why I like big sets of pencils. It's just easier to kind of blend one color into the other. It might also be because I'm usually coloring in the books, so you're kind of restricted by the paper that they chose. So rather than layering and layering and layering, which usually is kind of prohibited in those books, I just kind of find that in between color, and generally speaking, I end up with like 3 to 5 colors, which is why I call it my rule of 3 or 5. It's just, I don't know, there's other ways, but this is how I do it. In previous videos, I came to call that my default settings. It's just a very quick and easy way to blend. Which means I can actually try to blend in another way with just the two. But I'd probably also be noticing, wow, this is taking up a lot more time. Because I have tried, and then I thought, I think this is just quicker. Then again, I'm not here to tell you how to color. I'm just here to share how I do it. And if you're watching and thinking, that's for me, then, well, yay. There is not one way to do it. There just isn't. I also have been getting the question, like, what pencils are better? Like my Polys or my Pablos, and, well, both. Because it depends on how you use them. It also depends on what colors you need, because I have noticed that a lot of sets have different colors, which is why I find it silly for people to just start off by hoarding pencils. My general tip would be go for the colors that you need. So buy a set, and if you like it and you look for an expansion, find a set that complements the first one. And I'm basically always assuming that we want to save money. So I will be leaning on those kinds of tips. I'm not going, so you won the lottery. What do you want to buy? I don't care. You want to spend money, spend money. I would just like to help you find a way to maybe not spend so much money. And generally speaking, when I was looking at reviews, when someone said this pencil is better, I would just tune out. Because that is your opinion. Could you just tell me that you think it's better and why you think it's better? Because I like these pencils because I like the fiddly bits. I am not good at skin colors, portraits, or well, I've never really tried. So there are reviews going that this is a bad set because there are no skin colors. Right. So what if you're coloring leaves? This means I don't need skin colors? So if you find someone who's really enthusiastic about pencils, then find someone else who isn't. Never just go by the opinion of one. Because that is just one opinion. And one of those things I always tell people, if you are looking at the ratings and the comments and the whatnots, if you can get like a, was it 1 to 5-star rating? If it's a 1, check why. Because very often a product gets a 1-star rating because the delivery wasn't good. That does not tell you anything about the product itself, does it? So just look into that. Do your homework. Save some money. But I mean, if you are here and you think, well, the way that Dodo is coloring, I like that, I would definitely not tell you to stay away from these pencils. Not at all. I like them for their greens. This is really what I like about the Polys. Because if I put my Pablos next to it, it's just different kinds of green. I don't have like the well, natural greens. The greens that kind of look like they are in a plant or something. Not the plants that I want to be coloring. I actually got the Pablos because it had some browns that I was missing. And for the Pablos, I actually got a few pencils first, like open stock. because they are sold separately. So I got a few of those actually in the colors that I used the most. So I think, well, one of them was a green. And I found that, I mean, these keep a point rather good, which is lovely for tiny leaves. It does depend on what sharpener you use. I actually hate the sharpener that everyone seems to be loving, which is that the Doll 133 or Dolly 133, well, that 133 rotary sharpener, because it actually gives me a blunt point. It doesn't go to a point. It kind of has a stop in there, which kind of gives it a flat point. Which is why I have that other sharpener that you actually saw at the beginning, as this is what I'll be using. And of course a very, very, very basic one, which still does the trick. Now there are like discussions about how that maybe takes off too much of the pencil, but in the end, it's great that it doesn't take off too much of the pencil. But if my point isn't good when I'm done sharpening, I'll be sharpening it again pretty soon. So it's not really saving my pencil, it's actually costing me my pencils. But preference. So I do not like that rotary thing. Maybe on like really quick drawings, like bigger areas even. But if I really want to be doing detail like I am now, I just don't like it. And that's good. It's good that everyone uses different materials and has a different preference, so that if you are still kind of looking into what fits me, that does help you make a decision. Because you're bound to find someone out there who kind of does things your way. But I don't believe that there is one way of doing stuff. Nor is there one pencil brand the best. I mean, I combine the Faber-Castell with the Caran-d'Ache, and I love it. I think that it's like a couple. It's a happy couple. Of course, they're not. Different countries, different brands, but I just mix them. Although I did order a new set of pencils. Should be arriving shortly, so yeah, I probably will be using those on this as well, just because fun. I mean, I'm not really into making those videos of this is what I think about a product, but maybe I could. I don't know. I don't feel the need to. There's already so many opinions out there. Opinions given by people who have been doing this way longer than I have, so I'll probably just stick to discussing my pencils while coloring. I did name them all. Yeah, I did name them all. Just wondering again, like, did I even mention what I'm using? Did I show that on my swatch sheets? Because again, you know, you might be using a different brand. You don't need fancy pencils to color. You really don't. I mean, if you have a lot of money and you don't know what to spend it on, you know, you go wild. But I don't really believe in that. Though I have a bit of a ridiculous pencil set coming tomorrow, but it's because I really wanted them. I wanted them. It's not because other people use them or As a fun fact, I mostly follow people on social media that actually use markers, so I don't know what that is about. Watching live streams of people doing either graphite art. Well, that's not useful. I mean, shading wise, there's probably something to learn there, but in terms of like the colors and whatnot, yeah. Oh, and then we have like the marker people, so it's not like anyone can really influence me to buy certain pencils, because the people I follow are either marker people or graphite pencil people. So if you graphite marker people are watching, do some pencil videos. Influence me. No, but really don't let anyone tell you what pencils you should buy. Only you know that. Especially with these expensive ones. I mean, I'm a bit of a pencil enthusiast, of course. I have them. I use them, but I do believe that, you know, maybe if you don't have a lot to spend or don't want to spend, or I don't know, I don't care what your reason is to look into maybe cheaper things, but I just want to start looking into the cheaper things, because I have noticed that once you get used to them, you kind of keep wanting to use them. Wait, you keep wanting to be using them. You get the point, right? You get them and you're stuck with them. Haha. So yeah, I guess if you can't or don't want to, or whatever reason you don't want the entire set, if you can't or don't want, keep in mind if you only try like a few of them and you love them that much, you're gonna want the rest of them too. Alright, leaves done. Now I said I might speed that up, but tiny whiny. I am probably going to be doing that with the flowers though. Am I going to do the flowers or am I going to do the bird? Flowers. So, for the flowers, I have the 1, 2, 3, which is just, well, it's a dark kind of pink. I have the 1, 2, 4, which is this one. It's sort of going towards, I would say it's going towards skin colors, which is on purpose because I actually picked the salmon, which I think was previously called the light flesh or medium flesh. There was some sort of flesh in there. It was called dark flesh, but the name's changed. But the 130, because I feel like that would, I mean, the jump is rather big, but I'm kind of hoping that the marker background is going to help me. I'm going to sharpen these first. I guess that's sort of a heads up as well. I sharpen off screen and I just kind of cut that out. It's like, I don't think that's too interesting to keep that all in. So I might be sharpening a lot more than you might be aware of. I do feel like my lights are very off, but oh well. I'm actually blinding myself with one arm, which might be my problem. Well, that looks rather pink. You can't really see, but the picky. Now what I'm going to do with this is I'm probably going to just tap a little bit of color in there. I'm going to try and go for the ivory one. You can also use a yellow or maybe a white, but I don't know. I came to like the ivory for just a very lot of things. Yes, that looks sort of good. Just going to do a few here and then I'm going to speed it up again. because we should get the point. Now I'm going to go, I did like a yellow thing with marker. I'm just going to go over that with the dark. Guess sort of creating a bit of a star or something in the middle. I'm going to go with that one lighter, the 124. Kind of go from in there and, I don't know, drag that dark out a bit. Now we just have the outsides left. Which I'm going to do with that salmon, and I'm just going to give it its full color and instantly burnishing. Where burnishing is just kind of pressing down, getting rid of the tooth of the paper, as we call it. So that's just a structure thing. Normally, without the marker, that's more of a thing, because it's just more visible. So basically that little star that I'm mentioning, it's just that, it's just a little scribble. And then I'm just gonna sort of drag into that a little bit with this, not too much. Which means that I basically just made it a little bit bigger. And I'm just gonna go over the entire thing with the salmon again. And this is where my brush comes in handy. So if I would do this with my hand, I do risk of smudging it, because you're kind of pushing it into the paper. But so now we have that, and it just looks kind of silly, which is where the Posca comes in. Just gonna put that little dot in the middle, and that's it. Well, this one might need a bit of a bigger dot. So then all of a sudden it looks like a flower, but all I really did was add a little dot. So yeah, I'm just gonna speed up the rest of these flowers. So now we have a little happy bundle of flowers. And at some points, it is not as well colored as I normally would, but that's okay because there's marker underneath, so there's no white showing up. That is, I think it's rather lovely. And I don't know if you can actually see, but there might still be bits where it's like not entirely covered with pencil, but that's okay because we got the marker underneath. I'm actually going to take a little break because I think, like my cat, I think I heard him destroy something. I need to know what is being destroyed, so I'll be right back. And I'm back from my whistle break. Also got a chance to start editing a little bit. Oh, and I had like chocolate cake because it was at the store and it was chocolate, so I had to buy it. And then when you've bought it, you got to eat it. So if I have some questionable brown somewhere, it's cake. Just cake. Now, this is going to be the same thing as I have done with these flowers. So I guess that means I'll be speeding this up again. Now, I think before I started the green, I mentioned there was a reason why I wasn't doing the blue first, because I'm going to do that blue very, well, light. So that'll just be very light layer. And because it's such a light layer, it doesn't really matter if I kind of go over the green or the pink, just a little bit. But if you do it the other way around, and that blue from the background is in the pink, it's going to be mixing with it. I mean, you may have noticed people say that you can't really layer on certain papers and all that. And that's kind of it. You know, I already have so many layers right now, which you can kind of see. I think if I can get the light, yeah, you can sort of see a bit of a shine already. That basically means there's already a lot of, well, pencil on there. So it's going to be hard for the blue to actually mix with my flowers. And I do think my flowers are starting to look rather good. A few more to go. I just realized while I was coloring that I did start mentioning it. And believe it or not, I actually completed that story about why I was not going to start with the blue. But then some things happened off screen, got me distracted, and then I kind of forgot. But on this one, because I'm going to be speeding things up, I kind of lose track of time. Mainly because, I mean, right now I'm talking, so I will not be speeding that up. And I could, but I think that would make it rather silly. But because I'm speeding it up, it's kind of hard, because if my screen says that I've been doing this for, I don't know, 30 minutes, then real time, I really don't know. Which is why, I don't know, I feel like it's actually smart to sort of edit in between. Which does mean that this coloring is going to take a bit longer, I think. Mostly on the editing side, because I want to edit a few things before continuing. Now, if I were just not to talk, that'll be faster, because if I don't talk right now, I could be speeding this up, but I do feel like I want to sort of be informative as well. Also, I mean, I get easily distracted, so conversation goes everywhere and nowhere, and I'll be talking about weird things, and then all of a sudden I say something very profound, which I guess is good. That'll keep you on your toes. And just tune out. I might just say something smart around the moments. But yeah, I can't just assume that you have been coloring along on the previous ones, so although by now you probably already noticed that I am a bit chaotic and easily distracted. I try my best not to be. Once I actually wrote like things down that I wanted to talk about, and I got so focused on that. Stupid thing was, I kind of took a break in between parts too, so I ended up repeating myself. Which, by the way, I'll be doing a lot of that too. Because I'll somehow think, did I say that? And then just to be safe, I'll say it again. So I'm not trying to brainwash you, I'm just easily distracted. I mean well. I come in peace, I mean no harm. I think. But yeah, just a little inside info, I guess. Suppose that means that, well, having that said, I could probably speed things up again, because these flowers are still a bit of the same principle, although there are on that bit, the flowers were really clear, and here it's kind of, yeah, it's overlapping, so it's not always clear where you want the shadow and where you want the light bits. I guess, I mean, if it's not too clear from what I'm doing here, again, Facebook group, you can just enlarge that picture and see what I did, but I guess it's mostly just, well, dividing the colors a bit. So if I don't really know what goes where, I just sort of try to spread it evenly, I suppose. I don't know. It's just these well, color along, they do kind of force me to think about what I'm actually doing, because I just color. It's like you color by heart. You don't think about it. You just do. So a lot of times it's just, where do I feel a color goes? Where do I think it goes? And, well, that settles it then. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the flowers are going to be the same thing, so let's just speed it up. I think that looks rather floral. Trying to get my lights right. Time-wise, that wouldn't have been too long. I don't know if I can do the entire tree. Not this one. But I think I can get to these. So I'll do these first. So for the trees, I'm just gonna all go for the same colors. My lightest color is gonna be that brown ochre, which is a yellowish brownish wheat 182, and my lighter one is gonna be the Beaster 179, which is, I would call it a darker version of that. And then I have like a brown, which is gonna be the burnt umber. Really, you're gonna have to trust me. I have new ones, but I don't have to use them yet. Again, save money. Just why not? Why not use up the entire pencil? I'm just gonna start on the left because I don't know why. So with that darker color, I don't know how much I want to use and where exactly I want to use it, but I'll see that as I go. I'll just start with the obvious parts. Like on that black line is going to be perfect. And of course right underneath where the leaves are going to be. And then we're just going to assume that the sun is coming from up where the light is anyways. So that kind of puts that darker area at the bottom. Doesn't have to be all that much. Just a little line with, I don't know, a bit of a scribble next to it. It is a rather small area, so you don't want to be cramming too many colors in there, which is why in the rule of, well, 3 to 5, I decided to just go for 3, should be enough. I mean, technically we have a 4th color, which is the marker. Now, here, shadow, it has to be those bushy thingies in front of it are going to create a shadow. Now this is already done in black, so I'm assuming it's supposed to be shadow. But I'll just go over that printer ink. Usually you can use it in the books as well. Just go over that little inky thingy. This is kind of like that part where you are going to move the shadow from like the left to the right. I am anyways. Seems to, not yet. Could just keep them all on one side, I'm thinking. Doesn't look too bad. Now again, you could just stop right after this color. Just adding shadow. Although if you are just going to do one color with shadow, you kind of want to go over the rest of it lightly. Kind of like so. Just really light. Because you can't just do that line and then stop. I mean, you can, but it will look, I'd say, cartoony. If you want to keep it a bit realistic, then shadows don't just stop. They kind of fade away. Well, mine do anyways. Again, I'm not here to tell you exactly how to color. I'm just kind of giving you my theories on it, and the way I do things. And people have actually been asking about that, so here I am. So now I go one darker, which was that Beaster, the 179. And as you might be noticing, it doesn't really fit. But I got like 20 of these for like €4. And they hold my pencil. I mean, they don't have to be like very sturdy. They hold the pencil in place when I sharpen it. For me, most important is it's resting on like, well, I'll call it the back of my hand. Not quite, but I should Google one time what this area is called, but I just don't feel comfortable if my pencil is not resting on something. I feel like I have to put too much pressure or whatever. And it's gotta be comfortable. So you can, and you can really use up your pencils. I know you can glue them together, and you can go very extreme. As you know, when they stop fitting in here, or when I can no longer sharpen them in a sharpener, then I'll stop. Now, I know you can also sharpen them with maybe some sandpaper or knives, or yeah, but I don't know. I don't need the extra cardio. I really don't. It's coloring. It should be, for me, that should be without too much trouble. Like having to go and get special knives for sharpening and whatnot. Because of course your pencils are a bit like waxy, and that leaves a bit of goo on your knife. Now into that lighter one, which is actually, I read that somewhere, like how to clean your sharpener is actually get a graphite pencil and sharpen that. Because apparently that is like less waxy than your colored pencils, so that tends to clean your sharpener. I've tried that a few times, and I don't know, it did seem like my sharpener was working a bit better after. So who knows, it might actually work. We may have actually learned something here today. It's becoming a bit noisy outside. Oh well. It might just be that I call it quits after the trees, though. Should just make an intro every time I sit down. Make an intro and an outro. And just do that every time. That way, I can just decide, you know what? I can no longer add things to it. But I feel like the light is really bad. Oh, yes. It's just get too much light on there. But yeah, I think I should move this one. I feel like, yeah, well, you get the idea. I'm done battling my lamps. So always have... I'm always having issues with equipment. And for some reason, I feel like the shadow on this should be to there. I mean, the light is everywhere, but because it's daylight and we have no real point where the light is coming from, so I feel like it should be centered. Like the shadow is on the outside. It doesn't always have to match up-ish. I mean, it's a tree. Trees can cast their own shadows. So, like, to the inside of the tree should be, I don't know, actually headbutting one of my lamps. It's no fun. But yeah, I think that after this, the trees, I'm just going to call it quits, because then we have the sky left and the big tree. But at least we got quite a bit done. And I don't know what the upload rate of this is going to be, because of course it's warm here, so there might actually be days where it's impossible for me to really color. I do think like the lines on that side seem to be a bit thicker, so I'll just assume that that's the shadow side. Why not? Doesn't matter. Well, not too much. It matters, of course it does. I'm nitpicky. On the one hand, I really care. On the other, maybe not so much. But yeah, it's warm, and I might not be able to keep up a regular kind of schedule. But I already kind of talked about doing this when I really liked this page, so I really wanted to get started on that. So this is me getting started on it. And if it is within my power, then I will definitely be completing it, of course. Which basically means you can assume that there will be some sort of regular upload, but I have to find my rhythm first. Now with the previous one, I was actually uploading every other day. We'll probably not be doing that for this, but we'll see. I'm guessing it's gonna be at least once a week, at least. Now again, Facebook group is where you can find the page. And it's not an open group, but that keeps us all safe, I guess. And also those swatch cards you can get. My poorly explained color wheel, that could be found there too. I also have a pre-colored version in case you do have a fancy printer. But yeah, I feel like this is about as far as I'm gonna get, because the rest of the tree is gonna be a lot of work. And I have been doing the talkie thingy on this for quite a bit. So yeah, I think this will be as far as I'm gonna get today. And I actually think I could use these colors on that nesty thing as well. Why not? We're here. We're here, so we'll just tackle the bird's nest as well. Which also gives me that little time to do that awkward thing where I encourage you to click the like and subscribe buttons and maybe leave a comment. There'll be something feedback. It's just getting started with my YouTube, so I guess feedback would be good. I have the general rule of be gentle, which doesn't mean you have to lie, but just be nice. Also feel free to share the video. If you think, wow, this is really good, share it. And don't forget to join that Facebook group for the freebie, if you haven't already. I'm going to be doing more of them. Not all colorings I'll be doing are freebies. The previous one was not a freebie. But I figured, I want to encourage people to color along. People have been asking me how to do it, and I think I actually had questions about color alongs, so might as well just start doing them in a way that those people can instantly color along. So if you're one of those people who actually asked for it, and here you are, then, well, look what you made me do. This is all your fault. You did this. It's you. You. But yeah, you can also ask questions in the group, so don't forget to join that. That's what I made it for. There's no secret handshake, secret dance, password. It's just you basically ask to join and they'll take care of it pretty much. Do have like some questions, some rules, but that's nothing interesting either, nothing fancy. So for now, I think I'm going to stick to what I have so far. So the bird's nest is just a little bit darker at the bottom and just blop some lighter in there. I think I'm going to add just a little bit more brown. I feel like that black is still showing too much. Again, nitpicky. So for the next one, I'll definitely be working on the sky and the tree. Gotta figure out what kind of birds these are as well. Tiny birds, but they could be so many colors. So now for this, the result I have now, I'll just put in the group. I actually kind of went outside the line right there. This is gonna erase that. Which is also a quick reminder that alcohol markers are permanent. You can't just erase that. So yeah, I think this was it for that first part, and I don't know how many parts this is going to be, but not as much as my previous one, because we want to make it quick. So yeah, next time, sky, I'll probably, the birds and the sky should be able to do that, and the tree, and then we'll probably move into the green, and maybe start a base layer on the grass, just to get a bit of an idea of what it's going to look like. So here's what we have now. Can't quite get it all in, but we haven't really colored that yet, so this is what we have now. I feel that looks rather good. And then the next time, tree, sky, birds, and whatever else we can get to. So that means that for now, I'm going to thank you very much for watching. Hope to see you back for the next part. And, well, have a good one.